Hello YouTube, this is David here and you're watching my channel Wild Fry. And I was just setting up a ton of tip-ups for a kids fish event, and I thought I'd make a quick video while I have the gear out showing you this, just the most basic way of setting up a tip-up. If you are an expert ice fisherman, don't bother watching this video. I know for a lot of people, the coronavirus has pushed people outdoors. And I know that means a lot of you who maybe haven't ice fished before or don't usually are buying gear and are going out and using it. And so I want to show you the most basic way to set up a tip-up. Right here I have one of these cheap Celsius tip-ups. There's nothing really special about these. I just want to show you the most basic way to set this up to catch really anything: bass, perch, trout. Obviously there are specialized ways you can set up traps if you're going after a certain species, if you're using higher end gear. This video is just the most basic way. How do I get this rigged up to take the kids out on Saturday? So what do I need to just set up a basic tip-up? Obviously you need the tip-up trap. You're going to want tip-up line. I just grabbed the only one that was available at the store. This is Celsius 25-pound test. You want a tip-up line that is a nice thick braided line, because then it won't cut your hands, because this is the line you use to haul the fish back up. Now, connecting your braided line to your leader, you're going to want a swivel. And you can use the ones with the clips. I personally just like to use a normal barrel swivel. Brass is considered to be good because it can actually, attract a fish because it has a little bit of glint to it. At the end of that barrel swivel, we're going to attach a leader line. And for those of you that are really into ice fishing, you might be cringing right now because this is not ice fishing line. This is just regular 4-pound monofilament line. But I find with tip-ups, presentation doesn't matter as much as it does if you are fishing with lures on a jigging rod per se. When you're just setting up a bunch of tip-ups for just fun fish for the kids to reel in, you don't necessarily need the nicest ice fishing line, and that might be hard to get right now. Just grab yourself some 4-pound monofilament line and you can make do with that. Obviously, at the end of that line, we're going to want a hook. And hook size is going to depend on the size of the minnows that you are using, but a basic bait holder hook will do just fine. I have sinkers to keep the line and the bait down below the ice. I have electrical tape to keep our rig attached to the spool when it's in storage. And finally, I have my good old trusty fishing pliers. If you want to see a review of this specific multi-tool, it's a wonderful bargain. I will put a video down below. Opening this tip-up, we want to make sure that it's functional and that we know how it works. So this one has a flag that comes off, and it has an attachment point here, which is our trigger mechanism. And we can plainly see that it just hooks on like so. Now, if we follow that trigger mechanism down to the spool, you can see that there's this little bracket bit that when the spool goes this way, it sets off the flag. So that means when we spool the line, we're going to spool it the opposite direction. Now, looking here at our line, we want to first create a loop, just a basic loop in the end, and then we're going to trim the tag end. Now that the tag end is trimmed, we want to take the rest of the line and we want to pull it up through the loop we have and create a new loop like this. And you're going to want to invert it so that the loop is on the top. Now with the loop on the top, we're going to put it over our tip up. Notice that the mechanism side is on this side, and that is the side we are going to be spooling from. And now this can be reeled on there. Now what you want to be careful of is you want to make sure that this line is level and that the line doesn't pool up on one side, but goes from side to side to side to side. So you're going to want to move the spool back and forth as you reel it on to this. And this is a pretty small tip up. It's fairly quick to do this. You don't need a fancy machine. I often just put this between my legs, hold this in the air, apply some tension to the spool, and just reel it on nice and tight, and just give myself a little bit of a lip where there isn't any line. Now that we have a spool full of line, we're going to do a Palomar knot. There's plenty of tutorials out there that might help you see it a bit better. We're going to make a loop. We're going to put it through the eye of our brass barrel swivel, like so. And then we're going to make a knot, like so. And so then we have the end right there. That is where the barrel swivel is going to pass through. And then we're going to tighten that up. Clip the tag end. Now, once you have this tag end clipped, take a lighter and just melt the end of that tag end. Now, since this video is for beginners who want to have their tip-ups rigged for just general, fun family fishing, all you need to do is take a split shot, crimp it right above the barrel swivel. In this way, this split shot is not going to slide down the leader line and is going to help keep your bait to stay down, but it's going to give it some freedom for it to move around on the leader line. You're going to make a fisherman's knot, or whatever normal knot you like to use for fish hooks, on the fish hook, and then you're going to use that same loop that we used tying on the spool on the other end of this 3 or 4 foot section of mono that you clip off to be your leader. So imagine that this is the other end of that piece of mono that has a hook attached to the other end of it. We're going to make our simple loop. We would then want to trim off the tag end. And imagine that this is the bottom of that barrel swivel. We're going to put the loop through it. We are then going to take the other end of our leader, which would have the hook on it. We put that hook through here, and then we're going to pull this tight. And that is our connection to that barrel swivel. When you are finished, this is what your spool should look like. Your barrel swivel has your mono attached to it, which has been wrapped around the spool, which then has a hook attached to it. Now, you don't have to put the hook and the leader on there when these are in storage. In fact, sometimes the best thing to do is to wait and attach the leaders when you're out in the pond. That way, you can choose hooks that match the size of the minnows you're using. But in this case, I already have the hook on there for demonstration. The easiest solution is to just apply a fresh piece of electrical tape over your components. That way your line is not going to come off and get tangled with your other traps in the bucket. You could also use a rubber band. Those are 2 low-budget ways to keep your stuff from getting tangled together. So thank you for watching this quick tutorial on how to set up a tip-up for basic family fishing. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I'm just getting this channel going. And I'd love to hear what you want to see. I want to be able to share my love of the outdoors here on YouTube. I want to do things like in the spring, I'm hoping for some canoeing trips and some foraging tutorials. But let me know what you're interested in, and hopefully we can share our skills here on YouTube. I hope you guys have a great week. Enjoy the outdoors, and don't spend too much money doing it.